Welcome to the Jamal Thomas Morning Show. My name is Jamal Thomas. This is indeed my show. Apologies for running late. My computer went through a conniption fit, and for whatever particular reason, there's this bug where when the computer updates, it doesn't work well with the Yeti mic, and I had to reset the computer. You have my apologies. But I'm glad you guys are here. My guest is here, and I'd hate for my guests to be waiting to different computers. No, same computer. I do have another one, but this one is the one that I use for the magic to happen. It's just a bit finicky in its old age. Let me bring in my guests. I am joined with the great, the awesome, the fantastic, the indubitably, I lost the thread on that one, Dr. Wilmer Leon. Dr. Leon, he's radio host, political scientist, nationally syndicated columnist, host of Connecting the Dots. He also have a show on Sirius, which for whatever particular reason, I never remembered the name of, even though I've been on that show more than one occasion, and it is a fantastic show with fantastic guests.
Inside the issues.
Inside the issues. Okay, I was getting the issues part. I couldn't get to the first part. How you doing this morning? You doing okay?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing much better than Charlie Kirk.
Yes, most of us are doing better than Charlie Kirk. Somebody posted the thing saying, Charlie Kirk, given the comment, he believed that the Second Amendment was a good thing, regardless of people getting killed or this kind of thing of guns save lives. And it kind of pointed out it didn't save his life. And you have all of these people who are saying stuff like, yeah, it's not about the guns, it's about liberal lunatics. And as I pointed out to him, unless you're a Thor, you can't throw a hammer at 200 meters to kill a guy. It is on some level the gun, at the very least, with the level of damage that you could do. But it's unfortunate. Like, I don't like, there's some liberals who are making some very grotesque statements about Charlie Kirk. In regards to they're happy he's dead, all of this stuff, I think that stuff is grotesque. I'm not a big fan of political violence, especially at YouTubers, for lack of better title for him, even if he is a provocateur and even if he has said horrible, disgusting things. But that said, I'm also not a fan of pretending that people didn't live the life that they lived. And, I'm the guy who sits in a funeral. It's like, who is the person that you're talking about? And I don't want them to make stuff up about me either, for that matter. I have all oceans of video that people can draw to and say, whoa, that was him being an asshole. That was him being a good guy. It's a life. Give me your take on it, though. I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth in regard to your thinking. I am curious about your thinking, though, especially this kind of politicized violence that seems to be, I guess, normalized in the U.S., depending upon your political side. If you're liberal, you're okay with a right-winger getting killed. If you're a right-winger, you seem to be okay with Nancy Pelosi's husband getting beat to death with a hammer, or nearly beat to death with a hammer. Give me your take. Give me your thoughts.
Well, I think there are two major elements to this. One is the human element, and the other is the political element. As I look at this as a human being, all I can do is pray for the soul of Charlie Kirk and pray for his family. Yeah. I don't want to see ill befall anyone. I don't want to see anything bad happen to Donald Trump. I don't want to see anything bad happen to Benjamin Netanyahu. Who am I as a human to pray for, think about, hope for ill to fall upon anyone? I deplore violence. And so from the human perspective, that's where I am with this. On the political perspective, he was a confidant and an advisor to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the human personification of evil. You, Charlie Kirk, you worked with evil every day. You contributed to creating an environment that was based upon hatred that was based upon white supremacy and racism, militarism. You promoted imperialism. You backed genocide. So when I was in high school, I went to Christian Brothers High School in Sacramento, California. Brother George Bertola would tell us, men, you're a victim of your own event. Meaning you brought this, whatever particular problem we were discussing, you brought this on yourself. It reminds me of the line from Godfather 2. And you know how much I love quoting the Godfather.
Yeah.
When Hyman Roth is talking to Michael Corleone, and Hiram Roth is waiting to see if Michael's going to give him the millions of dollars to invest in Cuba, and Hyman Roth says to Mike, he says, when Mo Green got killed, I didn't ask who gave the order. I let it go. This is the business we've chosen. This is the business Charlie Kirk chose. I said, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I said, I don't hope that ill befalls Benjamin Netanyahu. I truly don't. But Ansar Allah has committed to bringing about an end to his life. If they are able to drop a missile into his living room while he's sitting there eating Funyuns, hey man, shit happens. So that's, and one more point.
Okay.
Barack Obama, Senator Barack Obama, when he was running for president, he was, and I'm sure you remember this, he was caught on tape in San Francisco at a fundraiser. And he said, it's the Bill O'Reillys and the I used to be on the guy's show. And it's the Bill O'Reillys and the Lou Dobbs of the world that are fanning the flames of anti-immigrant sentiment, that are motivating the people in the Midwest to turn to their guns, to their religion, to their xenophobia. And when he said that, he was castigated. In fact, I remember I was on the set. I was at the Lou Dobbs show that very day. And Lou came in screaming, Wilmer, did you hear it? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah. I said, Lou, you ever? I said, yeah, Lou, he's right. I said, I'm trying to remember the name. I said, you ever read any Frantz Fanon? I said, Frantz Fanon wrote about this. And Lou, not having read Frantz Fanon, looked at me kind of like, he gave me the Scooby-Doo. And I said, hey, man, he's right. So, and final point. What's his name? Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, is now bemoaning that they're talking about, oh, this is horrible. What has happened to free speech? He was giving a speech and it was political. Well, were you bemoaning the fate of Mahmoud Khalil when he was arrested and sent to an ICE detention center and then moved to another ICE detention center and threatened? They were trying to deport the man simply because of speech. See, you can't, the hypocrisy and the inconsistency in all of this bemoaning and hand wringing and crocodile tears now because Charlie Kirk got shot. Charlie, you were a victim of your own event.
Okay. That's a lot to work through. So let's walk through that.
Well, you asked.
Yeah, no. And I want an honest opinion. It's a fair point, right? It's a fair opinion. First, you are a better person than me in the sense that I am okay as a human being saying that other people shouldn't exist. I'm fine with Netanyahu getting killed. I'm fine with a lot of horrible people getting killed,
Okay.
especially if they're making other people's lives radically miserable.
Mhm.
If they're getting, when Israel was getting hit, I was sitting here drinking coffee saying, whew, that's some hot coffee. At every strike, I thought it was fantastic. As Israeli soldiers got killed, whew, that coffee is hot and good. I have no issue with it. I don't have this belief that there's something above me that is going to make this choice other than human beings making a choice about right and wrong in the way that we operate in the world. So I am okay with making that choice. Again, I'm just an individuated unit of consciousness. So whatever I think just matters, in the context of the 7 billion human beings.
I can't debate that with you. I won't debate that with you.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm glad there are people like you who think like that, so the Charlie Kirks of the world do get handled.
But see, that's the opposite part, though. I don't think he should have been murdered. Like,
Sorry,
I don't think he should have been murdered. I'm saying I don't think he should have been murdered. Like, Charlie Kirk is effectively a bomb thrower and a podcaster who has trash points of view. He's a horrible human being. Let's be honest. Like, again, if I'm sitting in a funeral and people saying nice things, I'm like, who are they talking about? I don't know this person who they are now acting as if he was white as snow. By the same token, though, somebody taking a gun from 200 meters and putting a bullet in his throat in order to take his life. I don't even know who took his life, right? We don't even know the motivations of the people that took his life. It wasn't, it might have been a liberal. It might have been some Israeli that was pissed off. It might have been some Ukrainian that was pissed off because his position on Ukraine. I have no idea who ended up taking his life. But that could be any of us. Like anybody could sit somewhere and say, I hate that guy's opinion so much. He hasn't killed a person, by the way. I hate that guy's opinion so much that I'm going to wipe him from existence.
That's one reason why I can't have that opinion towards him, is because I don't want that person to have that opinion to that level or that extent about me.
I guess the question is, does what Charlie Kirk is what he is, does it raise him to the level where people can say clean murder? And I just don't think it does. Netanyahu, yeah.
And that's my point. No, I don't think anybody, like I said, I mean, who's more despicable? I'll give you 3 names. Who right now on this planet is more of a despicable human being than Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and J.D. Vance, other than the women that sleep with them?
Yeah.
J.D. Vance is part of a cabal that murders 11 people in a boat in the Caribbean Sea, lies about why that was done, and then when he's asked the question, isn't this a war crime? His response is, we don't care about war crimes.
They don't.
When he says we, because Charlie Kirk is part of that cabal, then if you don't care about war crimes, somebody might put a bullet in your neck. Play silly games, you win silly prizes.
Now, to be fair, I haven't heard Charlie Kirk give a point of view on the Venezuelan issue.
I haven't either, but he was an advisor and a part of that cabal. Let me put it another way. Did you hear him come out and say this was a war crime and it shouldn't have been done?
But is Charlie Kirk really been giving advice on military decisions about who Donald Trump murders around the globe?
I don't know. What I'm saying, I don't know about that level of detail. What I'm saying is he's part of the entourage. That's my point. When Biggie got shot and when Tupac got shot, some of the entourage got hit as well.
Yes.
When you party with them.
I hear you. I hear you on that. I do hear you on that. The other part I want to go to is the political violence and how we visit just hell across the globe. Like, I mean, the Gaza thing is just one item, but you have like nearly 2 million Ukrainians that are dead as a result of the war that we effectively provoked and started. As you pointed out, they just murdered 11 innocent people that they're doing drugs. So, hashtag it's okay. Well, we don't know that, for one. It doesn't even make sense that a boat is going from Venezuela to the U.S. Selling drugs like that. Makes zero sense.
It doesn't make sense that a drug boat of that nature, because like you, I've seen the footage.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense that a drug boat would have 11 people on it. If you do very simple math, you only need one person on the boat. The other 10 are potential rats. The other 10 are people that can blow the cover of your entire operation. So you don't need those 10 people. And here's another thing. I haven't heard anybody else say this. Let's just, for simple math, assume each person on the boat weighed 180 pounds. You have 10 extra people on the boat. You multiply 180 by 10, you get, let me see, times the rotation of the earth divided by the speed of light. You get 1,800 pounds. You get 1,800 pounds of people that could be 1,800 pounds of drugs.
I've made that argument.
Okay.
I have made the same argument. I was like, so this boat is not big enough to take that much crack or coke or whatever the hell they're talking about taking.
It just doesn't make sense.
No.
Because drug dealers are a lot of things. One of the things they're businessmen and women. So you're a drug dealer and you're gonna ride around with 1,800 pounds of dead weight, and no pun intended, because they now all are at the bottom of the Caribbean Ocean or the Caribbean Sea. No, it doesn't make sense.
Murder of the North Koreans. That's another one, right? Where they kill those North Korean fishermen, and then for the state to say fair murder, that's okay.
And now you're trying to start a war with Venezuela.
Yeah. I'm trying to point out that we create havoc across the globe, and we're shocked when people assume the same ideology and bring that stuff back home and visit it upon people they don't necessarily like. So that's kind of the other angle to this, right? It's like, it's political violence. Political violence is as American as apple pie, for better or for worse. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I am very uncomfortable with. I'm very uncomfortable with this. I put it that way.
Look. As am I. I want to be sure I make. You mentioned the funeral a couple of times. And I was on a show last night, and one of the things that the host said to me was, we've been raised not to speak ill of the dead. And I said, well, I've always believed I'm going to treat you in death the way you treated me in life.
Yes, agreed.
I'm going to be honest. And so, this guy, as you said, was a bomb thrower.
Racist.
Somebody threw a bomb back.
Well, they threw a bullet back.
Well, of course, figuratively speaking.
Well, I'm saying they didn't challenge him with words. They decided to go after his life.
Well, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
But is speech enough?
Obviously, it is to somebody.
Well, I'm talking about in the more one day when we were on the show, you said right is right.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what does that mean? You said right is right.
Right is always right. The one thing about right is always right.
Exactly.
Right. But see, okay.
But is it right?
Let me clarify this for you. I'm not making when I say you said he's a bomb thrower and somebody threw a bomb back, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just saying it is, and it's an expected consequence.
Is it expected consequence?
In America, you shot Dr. King, you shot Abe Lincoln, you shot Robert Kennedy, you shot John Kennedy. This is the landscape that America has created. This is the terrain. You're sending the military into Los Angeles to quell a political, for all intents and purposes, you militarized, you federalized the military against the Constitution to quell, for all intents and purposes, a peaceful political response. You've sent the police into DC. You've sent the military. You've sent the military into Chicago in violation of the Constitution. One of the things, Donald Trump, that your Donald Trump whisperer, Steve Bannon, told us that you are intended to do is to deconstruct the administrative state.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't expect, as Chalmers Johnson would say, you don't expect blowback? You're tripping. You're tripping. You're creating this environment, and now this is the American individual response to your militarism. Somebody said, I'm gonna handle this myself, and you get what you get, and you don't get upset.
I don't know if I have any feelings about the fact that Charlie Kirk is dead. I think it's more so we have a First Amendment as an ideal. And in the context of that First Amendment, people are going to say off the wall things just on any random day, right? And that speech on some level is protected. And I guess I'm arguing right and wrong, I suppose. Like, I understand you're arguing action and consequence, that the administrative state, that Donald Trump is effectively destroying, the way that the state apparatus, the way it actually works. And you're making the case that Charlie Kirk has associated himself with Donald Trump. And because he's associated with himself with Donald Trump, if somebody can't kill Trump, but they can get Kirk, then Kirk on some level is responsible for his own death because of the things that Kirk has said and who he's associated himself with. I do get the argument. I'm saying that's still not right, though. Like, that's...
Oh, I agree with you.
You could be a bomb thrower. You could say off-the-wall stuff. You could be racist. You could be hateful to immigrants. You could be sexist. You could say horrible things about Black people. You could be a white nationalist. You can be all of that stuff. And in America, that stuff, ideally, is protected, regardless of how grotesque it actually is. Now, again, we don't know who this guy is. I mean, the guy's a professional sniper, obviously.
Or woman.
And so, yeah, I mean, he hit him in the neck from 200 meters out or something like that. That's an insane shot.
I spend a lot of time at the range, and I can say Willie Hicks, very well trained by Willie Hicks. You hit your target even with a high-powered sniper rifle scope and all, the little nest that you create for yourself, and hey, one round and you hit the neck.
Yeah.
Oh, look, no, You're about that life. You you know what you're doing. You
Yeah.
know what you're doing.
I am super curious about who this guy is and the motivations. Because what
And
if he's
see,
not a liberal? Like, what if he's some rando Ukrainian that don't like the fact that Charlie Kirk was skeptical about the war?
no, you don't even have to go that far. What if he is former MAGA who has realized he was sold a pig in a poke? What if he's one of those former MAGA folks that says, I didn't vote for this, which
Yeah.
really means, yeah, I did, but you weren't supposed to screw me. What if
Yeah.
what if he's one of the former Department of Education employees, or one of these Doge victims
Mhm.
that couldn't get to Elon Musk, so he took his ire out on the closest available target. He
That
doesn't
he could get to.
he doesn't have to be Ukrainian. He could be from Cleveland.
One of the other things I want to hit on this is the hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
It has annoyed me to no end. All of these right wingers crying bloody murder. Oh my God, Kirk should get the Medal of Honor. It's like, shut up. Just shut up. None of these people cared when all of these, when they were trying to go after Whitmer. And I know a lot of that stuff was the FBI egging that stuff on, but those people were trying to take her life,
Right.
even with the egging on.
Right.
Nobody cared about those other people that got shot. That were, God, Mediasan put an entire list out of right-wing violence that was taking place, or even on what was it, where they took the car and then drove into the crowd of people at Charlottesville.
I was just gonna mention Charlottesville. Absolutely right.
January 6th, raided the Capitol, beating the hell out of cops. And to this day, they act like this is entirely justified, that they were doing this and beating the living daylights out of cops. They didn't care.
So much so that Donald Trump pardoned them. So Donald Trump, are you gonna send the National Guard now into Utah? Is this now so egregious, and are people now afraid to go to Ogden, Utah? We now must send the National Guard into Utah? Is this that egregious? See, that you're making my that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. Your hypocrisy is nauseating. And not yours.
I know what you mean.
The right's hypocrisy here is just nauseating. Again, Spencer Cox, I think it was Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, who now wants to wrap himself in the First Amendment. I cannot remember the name of the sister. There was Mahmoud Khalil, and then there was another sister at Columbia that all they were doing was protesting genocide, and they were arrested. And here's the thing, folks, the First Amendment applies to everybody standing on this ground. Yep. No matter where you're from, no matter how you got here, no matter when you got here, no matter whether you should be here or should not be here, the First Amendment applies. The 14th Amendment, due process, applies. And so when you have a president of the United States that decides, as I think his border guy said, I don't care what the judges say, we're not bringing these people back. Wrong answer, homie. Wrong answer. You failed the test.
Yeah.
You failed the test. And so you've created this environment. You're a victim of your own event. You created this environment. And see, I'm not And this is why I started my answer by talking about the human aspect of this, because even though people are going to say and do what they want to say and do, I want to lay the predicate that I'm not applauding this.
Yeah.
But there are some realities here that Joe Scarborough isn't going to discuss. There's some realities here that Rachel Maddow and what's the sister's name that used to be on MSNBC?
Joanne Reed.
Joanne Reed. Because they're afraid. They're scared to take it to this level. But this is the level. If you really want to talk about this issue, this, in my opinion, is what you need. I'm gonna treat Charlie Kirk in death the way he treated us in life. He was a white supremacist. In fact, I remember the first time I interviewed Ray McGovern. The first time I interviewed Ray McGovern was, about 23 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I said to him, we were talking about Dick Cheney, and we were talking about the lies that were being told centered around the war in Iraq. And I referred to Dick Cheney as a neocon. And Ray stopped me in mid-sentence and says, Wilmer, no, absolutely not. He said, Dick Cheney is not a neoconservative. He said, I'm a conservative. Ray McGovern, I'm a conservative. Dick Cheney is a fascist. I said, oh, you're dropping F-bombs now. Okay. Okay. I hear you. So we've got to see part of the, and then I'll shut up. Part of the problem is people in the mainstream are afraid to tell the truth. Just tell the truth. The man's got a family. I realize that. But a lot of the people he was trying to deport, they got families.
Yeah.
He has 2-3 children. They got kids too. Mahmoud Khalil wasn't able to be by his wife's side as she was giving birth. Why? Spencer Cox? Because he was arrested for speaking freely, as you now want to advocate as you bemoan the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy is nauseating. Stop it.
Yeah, I think hypocrisy is the part that gets me the most about it. It's like they care when it's their side, and then they politically grandstand on the death.
Exactly.
It's like, well, we want to say prayers in Congress for Charlie Kirk, and it's like, dude, God doesn't care about your grandstanding. He just doesn't. Man was killed, and as you point out, his family, his wife, they weren't responsible for any of it, and yet they're gonna accept whatever consequence associated with it. I get your point about action and consequence. I do get it. This idea that you live a particular life, you can't be shocked at the consequences of the life that you've effectively led.
This is the business we've chosen.
Yeah, but he didn't choose a business of shooting people. He chose a business of being hatred. A horrible person. Yeah, he chose a business of hatred. I mean, hatred, I guess
violence and militarism, and traverse the country recruiting high school and college children to this white supremacist colonialist ideology. You back genocide.
Yes. But if you remember, Charlie Kirk recently was afraid for his life, thinking that the Israelis were pissed off at him because he was having debates with like Dave Smith and those type of people, bringing them on stage, and Dave Smith was eating the genocide supporters alive on stage. Like, look, I agree with you. He lived a trash life. He was a horrible person. Full stop.
And that just happens to you.
I guess I
When
just
you
don't
live
know if
by
that
right.
warrants being murdered. That's all.
I'm not saying it does.
No, I'm not saying that you are. You're making an action and consequence argument.
Right.
Effectively, this is the life you led, so you can't entirely be shocked that within the context of this life that somebody offed you.
Right.
But I'm saying you could be shocked. You should be shocked on some level by it.
Not in America, I'm not. This is America. This is what America is founded on.
We are founded, but every country is founded on political violence on some level. That's
But I
the
don't
other
live
point
in
I want to
every
hit.
country. I live here.
That's the other point I want to get.
Okay.
There are people who are making this argument also. All political violence is wrong. And I'm like, dude, your country was founded on political violence. What are you talking about?
That doesn't make it right. Because the country was
depends.
founded on political violence doesn't make it right.
Depends
Now,
on the political violence.
if you're saying that to try to support an argument that if the person saying that is trying to use that as a way of saying America is exceptional by not engaging in that, well, then you're just flat out wrong, crazy, and you don't know history.
Yeah, but they would make the argument. And on some level, I guess all states make that argument because all states want to be the single dispensation of force.
The shining city on the hill.
Yeah, but a totalitarian government, it's not hand over power just because you beseech it to do so, right? Mm-hmm. Like Israel just attacked Qatar. They're going to send a strongly worded letter. You think Israel is going to be like, oh God, we got the strongly worded letter. We certainly have to stop what we're doing at this moment. No, they're not. Any more than Napoleon, was going to, like France, in the context of that they were in, a strongly worded letter wasn't necessarily going to do it for France either. It required aggressive action. Two things can exist simultaneously in the sense that, look, killing the guy is wrong. It's political violence. By the same token, let's be honest. I guess my feeling, on some level, I get your point, right? It's like we should be honest about how action and consequence works in a society. I just don't think this rises to that level. And I'm very curious about, and again, I'm the guy who is okay saying that guy shouldn't exist. Like meaning people in general, like when those people are doing horrible things. And the reason I guess I started with that is because I want to make the point that I am not against horrible people, like disgusting, horrible people that are committing horrible acts on the world being taken away from this planet. I don't know if Charlie Kirk rises to that level. I don't think he does. I think this is
okay, but obviously somebody did.
Somebody does, yeah. Somebody clearly does, and that guy's still at large.
And another analogy, another example of failing to get to the reality, and we've talked about this before, the immigration argument. See, yes. I dwell on telling I'm a political scientist. I'm not a political operative. I'm an educator. In my mind, my job is to get to the truth. The only way I believe that you solve the problem is you get to the truth. I'm sitting in this chair today at 66 because when I was 42, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. We got to the source of the problem, solved the problem, and that's why I'm sitting here today. So another example is this immigration argument. And they keep screaming about all these people that are streaming across our border, wreaking all of this havoc in our country. But none of the people that are doing all this screaming actually get to the root or the crux of the problem, which is American foreign policy in the countries that these people are coming from.
Yes.
Stop decimating the economy in El Salvador, and El Salvadorians will probably want to stay home. Yes. Stop trying to wage a war against a democratically elected president in Venezuela named Nicolas Maduro, and Venezuelans will probably want to stay in Venezuela. It's a very nice country with beautiful women and very good food. So, But they don't want to have that conversation, whether it's Democrat or Republican, because they make too much money. Why, when Joe Biden was president, and he had control of the House and the Senate, why didn't he solve the women's right to choose issue when he had control of the House and the Senate?
Yeah.
Because it was more important to him as a political issue than it was a problem solved.
Yeah.
So I try to spend my time solving problems, providing reality to help solve problems.
Let's also be honest. We're a violent country in general. Right. I mean, like, we idolize the gun. It's like, you know, a good man with a gun, this is what you need to solve a particular issue. Right. Okay, well, I would wager to you the shooter doesn't look in the mirror and think he's a bad guy, much like anybody else thinks they're a bad guy.
No, he looks in the mirror and says, I hit my target. I'm a pretty good shot.
I hit my target. Yeah, it's like, that's a hell of a shot, right? That should be funny, but it's true. Yeah. And again, we export this stuff all across the world. Like, it's not like we're peaceful, we're just holding a lily. It's not that. We have a very aggressive, vicious foreign policy with a deranged president, either the last one or this one. We can't necessarily be shocked that there's going to be political violence in the country like that, especially, as you make your point, them putting military in other cities. It seems like Trump is just flagrantly ignoring the law. Mm-hmm. And I guess the other angle to this is, what is Trump now going to do using this as a political cudgel? That's the other part. Well, that's the other part. He's not going to invade Utah.
Well, you're right, but then there's another part to that part. What's the opposition going to do? See,
you mean Democrats, or you mean the left?
The left. Okay. The left. I'll just use that as the euphemism for the opposition. What are they going to do? Are they going to just sit idly by and allow him to ratchet up the horror because they're afraid to speak the truth, because they don't want to be insensitive? Because Wilmer, how can you? Oh, Wilmer, you're speaking ill of the dead. No, I'm telling you the truth. And the dude is dead, but I'm telling you the truth. Wilmer, how can you say that? It's the truth. How can you not say it? And that's been a big problem with the recent spate of politics, is the Democrats have been afraid / paid not to tell the truth. Hence my piece, he who pays the piper calls the tune.
You really think that it's about them being paid? I take it as just they were fundamentally.
Look at how much money AIPAC has paid.
Oh, you mean on that?
Torres. Look at how much money AIPAC has paid Gregory Meeks. Look at how much money AIPAC has paid Hakeem Jeffries. Look at how much money AIPAC has gave to the Kamala Harris campaign. Yes.
Christian Gillibrand, Cory Booker. You can go down the list.
As Gil Scott-Heron would say, the endless list that won't be missed when at last America is purged.
Yeah. No, on that one, you're right. I thought you meant it's political opposition, because they've shown no political opposition to Trump.
Because they've been paid not to.
Oh, but see,
I just gave you the.
No. I agree with you on the AIPAC thing. They fundamentally agree and support everything Donald Trump is effectively doing on Israel, completely to the hilt. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that you can't have political opposition in general. Like, for example, all of them are piping up now saying, oh my God, the Russians have attacked Poland with decoy drones. All of them are piping up. It's like, oh, this weak president is not fighting. They would find stupid issues. It's like, dude, do you really believe that the Russians couldn't find anything other than decoy drones that had no explosives in it to hit Poland? Is that really what you're making an argument about? But yeah, they would pipe up. They would say the president needs to get involved now. The president is letting our NATO ally fall to the wayside. The president is this. The president is that. Right. Meaning, if they had something that they thought they could fight on, they would pipe up as grotesque as what they're trying to pipe up as, effectively getting Americans killed or getting Europeans fed to the Russians. Is it more that they were just fundamentally broken in that last race, where they put all of their money on Trump is an ogre, Trump is a monster, Trump is a maniac, Trump is going to put Liz Cheney against the wall and put her and shoot her, Trump is going to do all of these things. And then when he still won, after the hysterics and everything else, they had nothing left. They have no political plan. They have nothing.
No, it wasn't the last election, because who started the conflict? Who started the conflict in Ukraine?
The war was overthrown under Obama. I mean, the Ukraine was overthrown under Obama.
Right. And then who sent the troops in? Joe Biden.
Yeah.
The Democrats have become more hawkish than who assassinated Muammar Gaddafi? Barack Obama. Donald Trump. The Republicans didn't do that. Well, the Democrats did that. And where are the Democrats now relative to genocide? Where are they now relative to trying to start a war with Venezuela? Who tried to start the war with China? Joe Biden over Taiwan.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi flew to Taiwan as a provocation, as an act of provocation towards China. So the Democrats are, they have become the hawks.
But they both agree.
Huh?
They just agree. Like, meaning they're not fighting on issues that they agree upon. It's not like one party or the other. Both political parties just fundamentally agree with this notion of primacy.
Right.
And maintaining it. In fact, they're attacking Trump for not getting NATO involved into a war.
Right. Right. Why?
I hate both, if I'm being brutally honest with you.
You're right. Because they're two wings on the same bird.
Yep. So true.
They're getting paid by Lockheed Martin the same way the Republicans are getting paid by Lockheed Martin. Remember, now I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. The former CEO of Boeing Defense Systems was asked it was July of 16, I think it was. He was asked, who did Boeing prefer to be president?
What a silly question.
Joe Biden or Donald Trump? And his response was, it doesn't matter to Boeing which one is elected. I mean, folks, you can look this up. Just look up CEO of Boeing says it doesn't matter who wins the election. I'm drawing a blank on the dude's name.
Mm-hmm.
He said it doesn't matter to Boeing. We're going to get paid anyway.
Yep.
That's what he said.
That's why I said it's a silly question. Boeing is going to make ends either way. And all of those billionaires are going to go to the table and they're going to say, Mr. Trump, you're a great man. We're going to put as much money into your coffers. What's his name? John Calhoun.
John Calhoun, I think is his name.
Yeah.
No, Professor? Dave Calhoun. Dave Calhoun.
For some reason, Dave Calhoun sounds more right.
It is. I just looked it up. David Calhoun.
Professor, this has been an interesting conversation. I enjoy interesting conversations.
Man. I love doing your show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And anytime you want me, I've gotten to the point where the time zone don't really matter at this point.
Well, now that I understand that, then I'll be reaching out to you a lot more.
Yeah, just hit me an email.
I was concerned about the time zone, about the time difference.
I've gotten so accustomed to. I mean, most of the time I'm working and cutting videos and everything else. Last night I dozed off, so I'm running behind. But all things being equal, usually I'm up. So definitely hit me up. I always enjoy these conversations with you. I swear to God, I do.
Why?
And
from what I can understand, so does your audience.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm transparent with that stuff. Like, if I don't like somebody, it comes across pretty clearly, as the audience knows from recent minutes. But no, man, I really enjoyed these conversations. And I always thank you for joining me on this show. Dr. Wilmer Leon. He is radio host, a political scientist, nationally syndicated columnist, host of Connecting the Dots, and decoding. What's the name of that last show for Sirius? I'm going to write this down because I want to put it
Inside the Issues.
Inside the Issues. Thank you.
And today,
what time does that come on?
That's from 11 to 2 Eastern on Saturdays.
Okay.
And today on Connecting the Dots, Francois Ndengue is going to be my guest from Paris. He lives in Paris, and we're going to be talking about what's happening with French politics. And let me grab this. I got to take this call.
No, you're perfectly fine. You be
Thanks,
safe.
man.
You have a good one. Have a good show.
All right.
Bye-bye.